All right. I am Marwan Cameron, and this is the Conduit. All right, everyone. It is November 19 in Kitsap County, 10:02 a.m., 44 degrees. Woo, we made it through a very long week. And we had a great show for you today, but life happens. And so, because of that, we're going to reschedule with Cody Russell from Kitsap Strong. Uh, Definitely was going to be a very powerful show, but we look forward to having him on in the future. But we cannot control what happens in life. So you've got to ride the wave. That's one of the things that I say, right? You got to ride the wave. And it can be difficult at times, right? Because there's so many moving parts and you're trying to get everything going and doing what you got to do and coordinating a whole bunch of things. But it's not always going to work out how you want it to. And so you've got to keep that in mind and understand that. You know, in negotiations, one of the strategies that we teach is, you know, when you're negotiating, obviously you want whatever it is that you're negotiating for. And one of the things is you want what you want, but you don't want to love it so much that it's like devastating if you don't get what you want or how you want it, right? And especially you don't want to articulate that to the person that you're negotiating with. Ooh, I'm dry today. Look at that. Sorry, folks. And so if you look at it from that mindset, then what you understand is, you know, things aren't always going to work out the way that you want them to. And so folks oftentimes will go through these really highs and really high highs and really low lows. And it can be tremendously stressful, right? Thank you, thank you. My mic was muted, so I had to do my intro again. uh, but folks can go through these really high highs and these really low lows, and that's very stressful also, right? So it's like, man, I feel great, I'm on top of the world, woohoo! And then when something doesn't turn out right, then you can feel like, oh my god, you know, the world is ending, this is so horrible. And you know, life is over. You know, we can feel like that. And so it's important to kind of keep that perspective, right? So things may not turn out how you want them to. However, ride the wave. And if you build that into your mindset, then you can if it's your heartbeat, you know, do do do, it's not as pronounced, right? It's just nice and even, right? So you enjoy your highs, but your lows don't get too low, and you're good, you know? So that's it. But what I did want to do is talk about what's going to happen at the top of the hour, right? And so Cody was going to come on for the first part of the hour and talk to us about Kitsap Strong and a bunch of other things and some of his philosophies and things of that nature. And then at 11 a.m., I'm actually presenting to another organization, um, and it's centered around transportation. And what I thought was it'd be a really good idea to kind of merge the two together. And the reason why is if I reflect back on kind of the things that I'm a part of, right? G2, the conduit, um, resiliency, econo systems, uh, the partnerships that we've made in the community, that that is really what it is all about, right? It's that community piece that is imperative. And so it's incumbent upon all of us as individuals to build and cultivate community. And so many of us will reflect on how difficult the world is right now, how divisive it is, how polarized almost every single topic is. And we can feel pretty powerless by that. But we don't have to be. Let me explain. We have so much power and we don't realize how much we have. And the power that we have is no, we may not be able to affect the nation, we may not be able to affect the state, the county, maybe even the city, but the people around us, we can. It may take time, but it is worth it. It is worth it. And these things tend to be pretty infectious in a good way. Let's start a pandemic of community, of relationship that we can control, right? You can spread love, you can spread hate. And if we choose to spread love and understanding and compassion and empathy and sympathy, we'll actually change our environment. So, right now, what are we spreading? We're spreading frustration and fear and anger. And, I would say with a lot of good reason. People have reasons to be angry or fearful or have anxiety. The discussion yesterday from the resiliency workshop, check that out, was centered around the four agreements yesterday. And I used to teach from that book back at the college. So it's one that I really like, right? So I'd been looking forward to this discussion since the workshop had started. It's like, oh man, talking about the four agreements. Yep, sign me up for that. I'm ready for that one. And so when we got on there, right, some of the agreements, don't take things personally, always do your best. Right? Those were two that we really focused on yesterday. And what does doing your best mean? And what does not taking things personally mean? When we think about it in the grand scheme of community and relationship, to me, it means I have work to do, right? Don't make assumptions is another one. And if I can give myself some grace and when I don't feel like I'm doing my best, helps me to understand that my best at a particular time, because I don't feel good. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So my best isn't going to be my best when everything is just hitting on all cylinders. but it is the best that I can do right now for the space that I'm in. And while I'm doing that and I'm giving myself that grace, if I'm able to give myself grace, I can then extend that grace on to others. And as they speak to me and as we have conversations, I don't take things personally. And that could be really hard to do. And that is super distracting. And I bet everyone can see this gray hair right here. And then if I'm not taking things personally and we have a conversation, then we can come to an understanding. I actually just went through that um, with someone that I value a few days ago, where uh, I made a comment and they took it in a way that I didn't intend. And so it took a while to get there. But the thing is we were both able to give each other grace and not take things personally, right? I heard it this way, so I'm feeling some kind of way about it, but you are who you are, so let's talk it through and figure out what you're truly saying. Now, if that's what you're saying, I'm gonna feel some kind of way about it. But if that's not what you're saying, then I can give you that grace and not take it personally to the point that we can and not well, their assumption is made, but I'm gonna reserve that assumption so that I can really have an understanding. And through that, right, then we can get to where we need to get to and continue to build that relationship. Well, that's hard work. That's not easy to do. Our emotions are emotions. And oftentimes we can't control how we feel, right? Someone cuts us off in traffic, we immediately get perturbed or frustrated. Some of us get really angry, laying on the horn. East Coast New Yorkers. A lot of folks do it here too. Cursing the car out. But as I use that example a lot, what typically happens? That person that cut you off probably didn't even realize it, didn't see you. It was truly an accident. And they're off and on with their day. And now your day has been impacted negatively for however long it takes for you to get over that. And for some people, it can kind of cascade. Other things can happen. And now, well, I got cut off in traffic. I missed this light. I had to slam on the brakes. I had to decide whether to fly through this yellow or not. Maybe I spilled my coffee, whatever the case may be. Someone took the parking spot right when I was pulling in. It's like you knew I had my signal on and you came and took the spot, right? And now we're so worked up. We feel it physically, we feel it mentally, we feel it emotionally. And it takes so long to come back to equilibrium. And later on in the day, something else that happens that's way more important. And none of that stuff even mattered. None of it even mattered. And so the trick is to actually practice and understand what it is that you're experiencing and how you're going to deal with these things as they come into you so that you can recover quicker, so that you're not impacted by the small things. Oftentimes, what happens is, it's death by a thousand cuts, right? The straw that broke the camel's back. So instead, set a goal. But you've got to check in on that goal, right? A lot of times people will say, "Hey, I'm trying. I'm going to bring on tonight's co-host. Let me go ahead and give him a How you doing there, brother Sal?
Hello, hello.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too.
Let me just finish my thought here, and then I'll get your feedback.
Please.
Kind of coming in midstream there, but oftentimes people will set a goal, and I hear people say all the time, "Oh, I'm working on it." Right? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right, you're working on it. What exactly are you doing? How are you measuring it? How do you know if you are actually making progress or not? And most times people don't have an answer for that. So they think about it, but they're not actually working on it. Right? Those are two very different things. So, that is true in my own life with a lot of things. Like, hey, you know what? I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to watch what I eat. I'm going to exercise. Okay, well, ask me in 2 weeks. What have I done? Right? What did you eat? Oh, you can't remember what you ate yesterday? You weren't journaling it? Then how do you know whether or not you're actually making any progress or that's working or that's not working? What do you know what to tweak and how much to tweak it? Those are the things that you can apply to your life to really make change in your life and make sustainable change that is resilient. I saw you nodding your head there, Sal. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think that that's a very a long time ago somebody said something along the lines of show me your bank account statement and show me your schedule and I'll tell you what's important to you.
Mm,
And so like and I owned a gym for 10 years, so as you were talking about the food journaling and I think there's probably a couple people in the world who can get away with not doing things a certain way and getting that result, losing the weight or most people have to follow a very specific process, and it involves commitment levels like journaling, because as you write it down, you're basically signing a contract every time you do that, every time you journal.
right.
So yeah, I mean, it's a very, I just very much agree with that. So
Well, as you know, we were gonna have Cody Strong from or Cody Strong. Let me see me mixing things up. Cody Russell from Kitsap Strong on today. He had a personal matter to attend to, so we're gonna reschedule that so we can, take all the time and really unpack it in a good way. Uh,
mhm,
and but one of the things that I did want to kind of take this time for was it was a 2 hour interview, and Sal doesn't know this is while I'm telling you and the audience, right? And we are going to talk about what Kitsap Strong is and his role. Um, and I actually need to present to the reentry task force today, and that's a task force that's made up of, I believe, police and probation officers and community members and organizers and organizations like mine, um, to help people when they reenter have the best chance of being successful, right? And so this is all folks coming together, which is really powerful because, a lot of folks will feel like, hey, I get out of jail or prison and I'm just left to my own devices. I have no supports in place. And the task force is powerful because it is all of those entities having that conversation and saying, hey, we are trying to be conscious of this and we're trying to change what is, right? And how we do things.
absolutely.
And so I'm presenting today at about 10:50 or 11 a.m. Once my time comes up, and presenting, G2 and primarily
Mhm,
transportation because that's a huge thing. And so while I won't do my spiel here, I did
mhm,
just want to talk about the importance of transportation and how for
mhm.
those of us that have it, um, not necessarily take it for granted, but don't realize the impact of the absence of it, right? And when folks are trying to rebuild their lives, when folks are um, experiencing poverty, uh, they have to do more, right? They are working
They
harder, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I wish people would really understand that, may I?
Yes, please.
So as you're saying this, so many things are coming up for me. One is I had the honor of being a part of this thing called the Entrepreneur and Training Program in the Monroe Correctional Facility. And so it was through a company or venture called Defy. And so what they did was they basically knew your chances of recidivism are, 100x higher if you come out and you don't have any opportunities. And so transportation is one of the limiting factors in people's ability to obtain an opportunity. They're already coming out with a record. It's hard enough to get a job. And so usually the jobs they can get are wherever they can get them. And a lot of these folks don't have driver's licenses, don't have and a lot of that's because of court fines and fees. And I mean, we can just start going down this rabbit's hole of how the criminal injustice system keeps people not able to get better. And hopefully that's all starting to change. But yeah, just how transportation is so key. And that's why you see people ending up living where they live because they have to get somewhere. They have to be able to get to the job or the probation office or the to anything to check in. So it's just yeah, I don't want to spoil what might happen later, but yeah,
And
like no, it's so important. So a real story. I was driving in Bremerton a year and a half ago, and This person on a bicycle was on the other side of the road, so they were not going with traffic, they were going against traffic. And they were cruising down the highway. I was coming up the highway. This person was pulling out of the parking lot. So I'm coming this way, this person's coming this way, and that bicycle's coming the same way. And that they did not see the bicycle, and they T-boned the bicycle.
Ooh.
The reason I'm bringing this up is because when that man fell off his bike and had broken legs and ribs, he also had an ankle monitor on. And the first thing he said to the lady who hit him when the lady ran up to him is, "Please put that back on my ankle." Like, I need, like, I mean, seriously. And so there's a lot in that to unpack in that one little story there. But this man was trying to get to work. I don't know if he was a bad person or a good person, or I don't have commentary on that. But he was clearly a part of the criminal justice system. You know, he had an ankle monitor on. And so it was just amazing. And the other thing I'll say is, when the officers pulled up and they were the first ones to pull up, I did not believe that they gave him a great level of care. And I often wonder if they did not give him any, a great level of care, because maybe they knew he was in the criminal justice system, and maybe they've run into, I don't know. Those are the parts I don't know. But being somebody who was a firefighter and an EMT for 7 years on Bainbridge Island, if anybody would have had a camera on that, it would have been very interesting. Just because it was, there was no sense of wanting to make him feel any better. Right. It was like, we'll wait till the fire department gets here, kind of stuff. And I was just like, wow, okay, like, this is probably one of this guy's worst days. So anyway.
Wait, and what hit me from what you were saying, Sal, you were like, he's trying to get to work. I don't know if he was good. I don't know if he was bad. And what I would say is, from a selfish standpoint, right? It doesn't even matter, because ultimately, right, from a selfish standpoint, if he is bad, then you want him to get to work and be able to pay his bills so that he doesn't have to make the other choice, right? Where it's a home invasion, or it's a burglary, or it's something else. So we can be apathetic toward bad people, or we can try to support them so the rate of recidivism drops, right? You're taking away the barriers to encourage, necessity or choice or decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here. I have no dignity. I could flip these burgers or do whatever the case may be, whatever the job is, right? Whatever they allow you to do, because we know that,
but your options are super limited, folks. Like, please understand, if you have any kind of criminal record, your options are, like, they go from mild options to almost no options.
Absolutely. Pastor's coming on. So how you doing, Pastor? Go ahead and get yourself together there. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. I apologize for being late. Tried to log on my other phone, and it didn't let me. And so just technical difficulties. I'm here. Good morning. Hey, Sal, how you doing, brother?
Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning. What you guys got going on today?
So I'll catch you up a little bit. So,
okay.
As I was saying to the audience, today our interview was with Cody Russell of Kitsap Strong, and we were going to go ahead there, Sal.
I just am reading something on my phone. Teen accused of killing 2 men during protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year, found not guilty.
Of course.
Wow.
We knew that was going to happen.
Well, Pastor weigh in, and then Sal weigh in on that. Let's go ahead.
Well, we know the judge was, playing backup quarterback for for the defense. So that was kind of to be expected. It doesn't surprise me one bit, unfortunately. It's par for the course here in America. They always find a way to, kind of give certain people, and but one day we're gonna have true justice, and he may have escaped justice here, in this temporal plane, but he'll have to stand before a righteous and a righteous judge one day, the Almighty Judge, and give account for all he's ever done, not just these incident. So yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is for America.
Sal, what's your raw thought there?
I'm just grateful that Pastor just said what he said, because I needed to hear it.
Yeah, it's just
This part's not my fight. Yeah, it's just this part's not my fight, right? So I gotta, some things I gotta accept and keep moving forward. And this is just big. This is just real big. So on the other hand, Julius Jones got his he got let off death row yesterday, right? Oh, like,
Yep.
That's all I got on that. I can't.
Hey, bro, just stay strong, brother Sal. You know, it gets greater later. Our victory is coming. Our day is coming. You know, this isn't the first injustice we've ever had to suffer, and it's not. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the last one. You know, and same thing with Zimmerman. You know, I still hold on to that. I still, teach my boys and tell them, look, don't walk around, with a hood on your head. Even though it's made that way and designed for, you to wear your sweater with the hoodie. I still tell them, look, don't put it on your head. And unfortunately, that's the world we live in. They should be able to, to do that, to, wear their clothes the way they're intended to. But we make certain, we make the necessary adjustments, to be able to move forward. And that's just how it is for right now. But it's not going to be that way always.
Your son's about Ahmaud Arbery, right? He wasn't wearing a hoodie. He was just jogging down the street, right?
Yeah. Give me a second.
You have sons. I don't have sons. So what do you say to them? Because there's no hoodie. I'm just jogging down the street.
The conversation, that we all have or hear is it's it's multifaceted. It's never just one thing. It's never just, hey, the hoodie. It's never just, it's never one thing. We talk to our sons, our nephews, just, our young Black, children, boys and girls, about the dangers of this world. And, we do the best we can to try and prepare them for that. The situation is always fluid. We never know, what their next avenue of attack is going to be, for to say, hey, you know what I'm saying? So you just got to, like, kind of, throw a blanket, over it all and say, hey, be mindful of yourself, be mindful of other folk, and, some stuff you just gotta, be the bigger person so that you can live to see another day. And unfortunately, we done seen lots of incidences where it don't take nothing. Sometimes it don't matter what you do, it's just what it's gonna be. We remember a few years ago, the guy went and shot the kid in the head that was just sitting in his car listening to music, because he didn't he thought the music was too loud, didn't like that type of music, and so, what can you say you can't, what I'm saying? Like, you can't just say everything. You just gotta, teach them to be mindful of the world that we live in. If that makes sense.
It does. How you want to build on that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like our job is to tell people God's honest truth, and I really mean that when I say that, to tell people the truth. You know, like, we don't have to scare people. We don't have to, you know, a lot of people don't like the things I tell people. What I do is I try to find out the truth, and then I try to share the truth with people. And I feel like the more people can live life on life's terms, not on the world Instagram's creating for you, or but like in the real world, then we'll all move quicker towards a better solution for most people, I think. But I think that we really need to be willing to hear the hard truths. I can tell you that as a kid, you know, my experience was certainly different. But the things my mother told me to protect me against things like this hold true to this day. I did not believe them one bit when I was told them. And so what I tell people, because I'm still a little bit, you know, I'm 42. I could shave and look a little younger maybe sometimes, but I work with young people, and so what I tell them is, hey, like, your parents are trying to tell you the truth right now, and I know you don't want to hear it, but like I'm like closer to you and closer to them, and trust me, what they're telling you is most likely the truth, that they're trying to protect you, you know? So it's just, you know, we just have to find a way to keep that communication open with, you know, whether it's our children or our, you know, cousins or relatives or anything, just the people that are in our ecosystem, to really hold them close and protect them. I was saying the other day, on a post, none of this happens if anybody who's in Kyle Rittenhouse's life says, "Don't bring a gun. You're 17. That's silly. Get out of here with that. We have guns. We'll protect you." That's what would have had to happen for people not to die that night. Any adult could have stepped up at any time. But we got what we got, right? And so then we had 12 adults plus a judge making sure that, you know, they had a clear path to find him not guilty instead. But hey, as Pastor said, these are the things that happen, and it's not up for me to judge this person as much as and that is my human condition. I will gladly admit to that, as I get really caught up in is what I think right and wrong is, how I want to see the, you know, the news feed of life play out, and that's just not my place, I guess. So now I feel that disappointment.
All right, I got to cut you off. I'm sorry. I got to do this presentation, so I'm just going to ask you to mute your mics, and I will go ahead and play this. So go ahead and mute your mic there, Pastor.
He might be frozen.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Give the spirit song, make our people strong. It's been a holocaust, and many lives were lost, no matter what the cost, or what ways they won't exhaust. We have a motivation in every situation, on every reservation. He stands for truth. It's our salvation. Back in the days of old, this story was foretold. We would be bought and sold. Yahweh would shine like gold. We have an enemy. He's one we cannot see. His color has always been invisibility. He tried to drug us, dope us, addict us. He robbed us blind. Then he tried to convict us. But now revival's come. We hear it in our drum. The message loud and clear. Deliverance is. Sacred God. Our ways will never die. Walk the holy path and heal the aftermath. We are the seventh generation, spoken of by sovereign nations. We've been pressed down, but not forsaken. Let there be no mistake. We have been reawakened.
Rather be treated like a person, not a patient? Iora primary care doctors are standing by. Iora is life-changing proactive.
There we go. Okay. Apparently, I'm not the best with technology.
So as they get themselves
So,
together, I am going to
So I just want to say
broadcast
thank
my
you to
interview
Val for being
or my
vulnerable
presentation
and
to reentry.
sharing your story.
And so we're
This
coming
is a
in
great lead
at
in
the,
to why
at
we
the end. They've
do
asked
the
me to
work
come
that
and
we do at
join.
the
So
Welcome
we got to
Home
come in there a few minutes
program
early.
in partnership with KidSap
And what we'll
Strong.
do is we'll pick up this conversation on the
There's
other
an
side.
importance
Because
to
I think it's important while we're here to
understanding
stay in this
trauma.
space, I think, for a little
People
bit.
that have trauma It's
And
important to
what I will
understand
say
historical
is,
trauma. And
yes,
I
I
think
can.
the
I'll share
more
this out.
that
Um,
we're able to
what's important
educate justice
is
involved professionals and law
this is
enforcement
another
in
unfortunate example
this
of where we
area,
have to get involved.
the better
We've
we
got to
all
get
will
involved.
be,
And it's
as
not enough
Pollyanna as that
to
sounds. But I know we
post,
do have Cody
tweet.
and Christina on the line that
We
have
have to
helped
start
put
getting on
together these
committees. We
law
we need
enforcement
to start
trauma
running for
informed
office.
care video
We have to
series.
find a way to build relationship, build
And we
community,
have just rolled them out.
and
And
it's going to take
Cody and
everyone.
Christina, if I can put you
Yeah.
on the
Oh,
spot for a
absolutely.
minute,
Send it to me in
and
the, on the
maybe
chat
talk
so
a
I
little
can
bit why you just listened to Val's story
It's critical.
and why
If it's
it's
going to
important
stop,
to
we cannot wait and
understand
hope that the government is going to stop. We can't wait and hope that
trauma
people
informed
that
care and
do
people
what
that
they do
have trauma in
and
their
think
life,
how they
and
think
also
are
that
just going to
historical
one
trauma
day wake up
piece,
and not be that way
because I
anymore.
think it's
So it's on
really
us.
really important.
And we have the
And
power to do it. That's why I
I'll
say
pass it
power is
to
not given,
Cody,
it's taken. You
and
have
then
to
maybe
take
we
your
could talk a
power.
little bit as
And you
well
take it in
about
so
our
many
video
different
series
ways. And
that
that is
we are rolling out.
getting involved. Marches.
Well, thank you, Janelle.
That's good. It could be all of them.
Honestly, I don't know that I could do it any more justice
You're
than
on
Val
mute.
has
I can't
already
hear you,
articulated to us.
We have to change. We have
Hello?
to be represented. We need to be present.
I can hear you.
Our
I can
ideas,
hear
our
you.
thoughts,
I could
how we
hear him.
think need to be heard. And as
Can you hear me now,
we
Janelle?
are actually the masses.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
begin to
having a
take
really
over
bad
these
day.
spaces,
It
then
was
we
me
get
with my
to
volume down.
drown them out.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
I
All
love
right,
this
so I shouldn't
crowd.
talk
No
over
one's
people.
judging. Okay.
You're in the safe space. Janelle, no, thank you so much. I was just going to offer up that, I think that Val's story does a fabulous job of articulating how we are, our perception.
All right, so they're cut off now, and I think it's just us again. What I will do is, let me go ahead and text someone who is in there and let them know I can't hear them now. Can you hear me? Okay, so that doesn't work.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll text someone who is in that reentry and just let them know when they call my name to please text me. Because I can't hear them now. But
there's no way to just kind of tune that volume a little bit of theirs.
you know what? Maybe I could do this. Let me try this and see if that works. Usually when you bring them in, it's like, okay, we're doing all things at the same
This is
time.
an interview with the father.
Oh, hey, you're awesome there. That's a lot better. Huh? That's what I'm talking about. You come over here and run my
This
stuff.
is why this is going to work, sir. This is why this is going to work.
But see, now you're low. I can barely hear you. Does that sound better on this side? You barely hear them? Good. All right. So, yeah, so what's getting ready to happen again? This is the reentry task force, and I will bring them on when it's time to present. Because you're still on, Pastor. Let me bring you back on. Your signal was dropping in and out. Restream doesn't like your phone when you're driving, for sure. I'm going to present to the reentry task force. As you know, gather together, grow together. We provide transportation, and that is something that is critical, as we were speaking about before. And so I'm going to talk about that. And I think it's good that other people hear, right? One, obviously what we do, because we're still kind of a big secret in the community and anyone can use us. And while I'm presenting to reentry, what I was saying just before the breaking news is people who haven't committed any crimes at all struggle with lack of transportation. You know what I'm saying? It's hard if you don't have transportation. We're not in New York. We're not in Philadelphia. We're not on, a major public transportation system. We're not even in Seattle, right? So, I don't want to spoil it, but for those of you that are in Kitsap County, imagine not having a car and you're trying to get from Port Orchard to Silverdale. What do you need to do? You've got to walk to the bus stop. You've got to wait for the bus because you got to be there early. You got to take it down to the ferry terminal. You got to wait for the ferry. You got to get on the ferry. You got to get off the ferry, walk up to the bus stop, wait for that bus, take it to a transfer center, and from the transfer center, get to the place that you need to go. That's one place. I'm going to repeat that. But again, for many of us, that's a 20-minute drive. And we're there and we're on to the next thing. So when we're working with folks that are trying their best to honestly survive, but we want them not to just be sufficient. We want them to be resilient. We want them to grow, to have growth, right? That's sustainable. How do you expect for that to happen? How long does it need to happen? And can we shorten that length by taking that barrier out or reducing that barrier? That's why we do transportation. And when you hear about the cost for that example from someone who's in Port Orchard trying to get to St. Michael's in Silverdale, it's gonna blow your mind if they were to catch a cab or an Uber.
Thank you, Cody. Christina, did you have anything
And
else?
we all may not have
Just a small thing. So
a friend
echo
or a
everything
family
that
member
Cody has said, but just wanted to say
who
how
can
to do this work.
take
on
us
ourselves
to
as a human dignity model and
our
Lord,
appointments,
I just want to
right?
thank Val
Or
and
sometimes there's
all
things
to
that
share their
kind of come
stories,
with it. Well,
because
I'll
I
take you
think
to your appointment, but you got to watch my kids. I'll take you to my
want
appointment, but you know,
personalize and
you're gonna have to go grocery shopping with me, and
personalize
you're gonna have to go around with me and do all these other things. Well, I got other things I got to do, right? I'll take you to the appointment, and you know, I'm gonna need some gas money, which is understandable.
The sciences that Cody's talking about in trauma-informed care, it
But those
emphasizes
things are
how it
barriers, and it makes it
affects our
tremendously
health
difficult.
outcomes, and I think there are
And so I'm kind of mixing the two
us
together
that are
because reentry is
evidence-based
about
strategies that really
transportation with
empower individuals
reentry. But all of those things I think are appropriate, and we kind of miss that.
the strategies and how we
And so we
react
can look at the
as
lens of,
individuals
well, you put
as
yourself in this
society.
position.
Um,
So,
we'll just be
you know,
motivated and
you dug your
grounded
hole.
and
I guess you got
understand.
to
So I
dig
just wanted to
yourself
add
out.
that piece to it.
But
Really
that's
appreciate
not
Val,
really the answer.
sharing with the group today. So Janelle, thank you.
Thank you.
Homelessness,
I have something to share with the group today.
uh,
Cody
food insecurity.
And so
The-
I think publicly people know
There's so many
that,
things.
Cody, I'm not sure when is your
I
last
believe
day?
that Janelle is reading a letter to Cody right now. So Sal,
My last
just
day
kind of
is
reflect
next week.
on what I was saying there.
So part of
About the transportation and all just the, yeah, I mean, it's the places I see creating the best opportunities are not just delivering, you know, like you know, and I'm talking about large organizations who have resources. They're not just creating the transportation. Hey, let me get the worker to the place. They're creating opportunities for daycare at those places. They're creating opportunities so that like the whole problem gets solved. And I don't even want to call it a problem. It's not a problem. People's lives, so that they have children. So yeah, it's just because one barrier gets removed, meaning you get the ride, doesn't mean you could pay for the ride. Like you mentioned Uber, and you mentioned you know, something like that. If you can even get an Uber, and I'm not even talking about the color of one's skin and their ability to hail a cab. I'm talking about the ability, like not a lot of Ubers out there. It's just, you know, or if they are, they're probably not in those places. And so it's just, it's we got to rise everybody's ship together. You know, we got to solve all the problems. And I just think that that daycare and the ability for people to have a family and take care of that family and work to support themselves,
but we are happy for your
it's all got to get wrapped up together. You can't
choose
split them up.
courage or you can choose comfort.
Well, think about it. It is
You can't choose
definitely punitive to the non-custodial parent that's paying child support.
Thanks for being an
right?
example to me and others.
You don't pay your child support?
In this life.
Well, we'll take your license. We'll throw you in jail.
Mhm.
Well, how am I supposed to pay my child support if I can't,
Yeah.
you know?
This
And
system's
you
broken.
hear these things and you all the time, right? I'm not a criminal.
Mhm.
I'm trying to pay the rent that's unaffordable for myself too. But the court has ordered me to pay this amount of money. But I got to get to work to try to
Yeah.
pay the support, but I also still need to live. This isn't a turn up, right? I'm not at the club. I'm not living, you know, I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And now you're going
Probably
to take my
get paid
license.
minimum wage. You know.
Yeah. Or I'm riding dirty. I don't have a valid
Right.
license. It's expired. It's suspended. My tab's expired. But I got to get to work because if I don't
Mhm.
get to work, I can't pay my child support, which just digs me a deeper hole. I can't pay my rent, and I'm trying to do all the things. And we don't tell women, well, you shouldn't have had the kid. They tell the guy, well, you shouldn't have had you should have been
Mhm.
more responsible. You should have wrapped it up. Right? Again, not the answer. Right? And so then when you wonder why some people make bad choices, right? Do they feel like they had choice?
Yeah, that's what I look at. Or what did people really believe their choices were? Because that's the reality of the situation, not what I believe their choices were, from my perspective, from my privileged situation. But yeah, what were the actual things that made this situation occur? That's what we need to zero in on.
Yeah. I thought that was really punitive. And I'll tell you a story, right? I have two children. One is 28. I have two grandchildren, and I have a 10-year-old, right? So two lifetimes already, right? And so I still owe child support for my oldest daughter. It was probably about 4 years ago now, right? And so they actually suspended my passport. And I was going to go to China for business and realized that my passport was suspended. And it was like, well, you owe back child support. So so I had to go through all this stuff to say, hey, I'm doing travel for business to try to get it back. And it was a mess. It was like, so wow, really? So literally, it's so punitive. All right, it is my turn. So let's go ahead and tune in.
Good luck.
And again, when people are speaking, if you want to put them in speaker view so you have a better view of them, go ahead and do that. Can you hear us, Marwan?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So I'm going to put this on speaker view for myself. But you have the floor.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marwan Cameron. I am the executive director of Gather Together, Grow Together. We will actually be 4 in February. So we've been here for quite a while. And so we're very thankful for that, especially coming through the pandemic, which has destroyed many lives and many businesses. Um, I've been asked to come on and talk about transportation. I'm already a part of this group and I attend when I can. But what I wanted to do is kind of take everyone through an exercise. So if you would, I'm gonna ask you to close your eyes. And I'm gonna close my eyes too. And what I want you to do is imagine you've woke up today and you're thinking about the things that you have to do. And one of the things on your agenda is you need to go to St. Michael's in Silverdale. Now you live in Port Orchard. Now you don't have transportation. So you're going to be using public transportation. So you're thinking about what all do I need to get done? Because once I leave today, it's going to take so long for me to get to where I'm going. Doesn't really make any sense to go all the way back home. So I need to kind of pack everything in the kitchen sink. So I get all those things together. My appointment is in a few hours. I leave out of my house. I walk to the bus stop. I wait for the bus. The bus comes. I take the ride for however long the bus takes to get me down to the ferry terminal. I wait for the ferry. I jump on the ferry. It takes about 10 minutes to cross. I get off the ferry and I walk up to the bus terminal there. When my bus comes, I finally get on and I get to sit down for a little bit and ride through the town until I get to the transfer center on Wheaton Way. Now, once I get there, maybe my bus is there, or maybe I need to wait for that bus, and I hop on that bus and I get on out to Silverdale. I get off that bus and I walk into St. Michael's, and I need to be at least 30 to 45 minutes early because if I miss that appointment, who knows when I'm going to get back in? And if I'm seeing a specialist, it may have already taken weeks. I may have to pay a cancellation fee for being late because if you're 10 minutes late, they will cancel your appointment. Now, what happens if I get a random UA that day? What else? Let's say I didn't even need to do that. How much of my time has that taken? For many of us, you say, okay, well, you can catch the bus, and that opportunity cost is you're going to lose time. You're going to get there. It's the cheapest way. I could call a cab or an Uber, a cab today, because we called around this morning just to get you the up-to-date prices. $35 to $40 one way. Wow. Even if I'm making $15 an hour, I'm going to have to work 3 to 4 hours because of taxes just to pay for that one-way trip. If I catch an Uber, oh, it's $56. And this is from KCR in Port Orchard to St. Michael's. So again, that convenience is great, but it costs so much. Can I afford a vehicle? Is my vehicle working well? Can I pay the tabs? Do I have a license? Was it suspended? Was it suspended because I owe child support? I didn't even do anything wrong. I just couldn't pay. Now, this is reentry, so we're talking about folks that are coming out of jail and prison and trying to reintegrate. But you need to pull yourself up from your bootstraps. If you really want it, you'll be able to figure it out. But we know that those of us that are struggling and live in poverty, or in a situation when we're trying to reintegrate, that we work triple, quadruple as hard. The tax is immense. So we provide transportation. We're about a third of a price of an Uber. If your ride is within an hour, that $25 is round trip. You need to make another quick stop on the way there? Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. We partner with KMH, Kitsap Mental Health, Salvation Army, the Rescue Mission, the county. Folks can call us up. And transportation is one of the biggest issues that people face in this town. No public bus service on Sundays. Great, you've got a job, but you don't get off work until after 9. Buses are done running. We all don't have friends and family that we can call on to give us a ride. And that is often has a lot of things that kind of hang over that. Well, I can give you that ride, but you're going to need to go with me here, here, and here. But remember, I'm already fighting from behind. I don't have time to ride around with you all day or to be dropped off 2 or 3 hours early just so I could get that ride. Some people, it's not healthy for me to be around. So I really don't want to put myself in that position. And again, I may just not have it. I tell that story because I think many of us that can just hop in our car and go to a doctor's appointment or run an errand. If we forget something, we can run back to the house. And even that is an inconvenience for us, right? We get frustrated when we miss out on something. We have to go back. We go to a social service agency like KCR or DSHS, and they tell us, oh, well, you need this other paperwork. You need to go back and get it. Well, for those that don't have transportation, well, we'll make another appointment in 3 weeks. It is tremendously debilitating. So what we want to do is we want to support the community. And that is one of the biggest things that we do is provide transportation throughout the county. Currently this week, one of the things we're doing, we're going out to Chimicum, if I'm saying that correctly, and we are transporting a cancer patient who needs chemotherapy every single day from Chimicum to St. Michael's. If people are going into a treatment center outside of the city in Seattle, we provide that transportation. We have taken folks from KMH to just outside of Oregon, Port Angeles. So we're all over the place. So we're trying to ensure is that people can get the services they need in the most reasonable time at the most reasonable price possible. If you're on a fixed income, whether it's SSI or TANF, say it's $540 a month you have coming in because you have one child. And we just looked at those numbers. I've got a doctor's appointment. It's the first, and I'm going to go to Walmart and I'm going to do grocery shopping. Well, you know, the cab and the Uber, they keep charging you while they wait. So you need them to come back, right? So you're paying that twice. Well, you may be paying more than 10, 15, 20% of your monthly allotment just to go to one place. I pause there because we often speak so quickly that we don't allow our thoughts to really resonate. So as I transition, I'll just talk 2 more minutes. G2 was founded in 2018. We are called Gather Together, Grow Together, or G2 or G2G. People call us a lot of different things. We're downtown, right above the co-op on 5th and Park, catty corner from the courthouse. You've heard all about transportation. We also provide food. So we feed the folks that are experiencing food insecurities. We used to provide 50 to 60 meals every Sunday at New Horizon Baptist Church. And that was pre-COVID. It was a sit-down meal, smoked salmon, about a $40 meal. And it was serviced with dignity, actual plates, silverware, music, and they could sit and dine. They didn't have to eat out of the styrofoam. And the philosophy was, if I wouldn't feed it to my daughter, I would not feed it to them. As COVID hit, we started serving outside, right across the street from 7-Eleven in downtown. And other organizations came down and started to do the same thing. So we said, hey, we have transportation. Let's get the food out to people that can't make it downtown. So we deliver to motels and hotels, well, not hotels, motels, apartment complexes, and we do a delivery every Thursday. Cooked meals, shepherd's pie, stromboli, comfort food, hearty food. This summer, we participated in OSPI. I think we were doing 1,000 meals per week and delivering to the school kids. Because again, transportation is a big deal. So I'm low income and you're saying you're going to provide this free meal, but you need to get to the location. Well, again, if I don't have a car, if I need to get on a bus, well, that's a hardship. So we would bring the food to them. We have a job training program. We work with probation offices and with shelters. So if folks need a letter to leave the county, we can sign off on that. And we do concession work. Again, nothing much to do in Bremerton on a Sunday. So come and work a Seahawks game with us or a Sounders game. Come be a part of something. We pay for the food handlers permit. We pay for their alcohol permit. We pay for their clothing if they need it. We transport them to the event and back. They are with us the entire time. We actually give them a $50 stipend. We track their hours. We write letters of recommendation. We help them to work on those soft skills and the hard skills that maybe there's some gaps in there. And it gives them a sense of belonging. And they're also contributing to a nonprofit to continue to do our mission. And normally we're at the Tacoma Dome and UW also, but COVID. For folks that are in a shelter, they will save the bed for them because we might not get back until 1 or 2 in the morning. And so, they say an idle mind is the devil's playground. And so to give people the opportunity to engage and give back. Cody's on here. So what I'll say to Cody, and I've already said this to him, is when we first were formed in 2018, Kitsap Strong had a training on ACEs. And so we were a part of that. And my mentality is, how big can I make this, right? I feel like McDonald's, the billions and billions is served. I want to get out as many hamburgers as possible. And Cody said that it isn't so important, or don't get caught up in serving the masses in mass, the volume, but it's the impact of the quality of service that you do to the individual. And it actually changed how we did business. And so there's a gentleman who had a violent outburst, broke a window, and the court came calling for him like a year and a half later. Now, he's already on the path of changing his life, but now they wanted him to put him in jail for 30 days. He goes to the court. Court really doesn't want to listen. We're either going to put you in jail, we're going to give you house arrest. He comes back, he says, Mr. Cameron, this is what's going on. I said, okay, we'll talk to the public defender, tell him what the situation is. Comes back, says, well, he really didn't listen. You know, you go to several court dates before you get to your sentencing. I did it, I'm guilty. Maybe I should just go to jail, do my time. It's like, no, you've been doing so good. You've been clean for more than a year. And you've been doing all these good things with us and in the community. You're chairing AA meetings. You're the head of your I don't know if it was an Oxford home, an actual Oxford home, but a home like that. So I went to court with them, and I wrote a letter on his behalf. They didn't end up giving him jail time. They didn't end up giving him house arrest, which again he had to pay for. So that's punitive. Couldn't even pay the $300 for breaking the window. They gave him community service with G2. He doubled the community service that was required. When he came to us, he didn't have his license. We used our vehicles to help him practice his parallel parking. He was able to get his license back. And we have Kitsap Transit van pool vans. And to be able to drive those vans, you have to be a paragon of of perfection on the road. I cannot pilot a transit van because I got a ticket 2 years ago. He became a Kitsap Transit van driver. He was able to apply to drive a bus for Kitsap Transit. He didn't end up doing that. But what he ended up doing is going and driving for Amazon. And he just left Amazon and took a job with the U.S. Post Office in Seattle. And those are the stories that for us is more important than the billions and billions served. That is G2. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Marwan. I really liked today. This is really nice. So we have a few other community resources, hopefully on the line. I'm not sure, as I mentioned.
All right. So, everyone, that is my presentation. Sal, Pastor, you want to give me your thoughts on that? Well, I come back to the screen and they're both away from their desk. So I'll look at the chats. Mark says, on beach, doctor, you are out of luck. Transit does not go past only. Also says, for tax. And then in the chat, embrace the humanity of all residents. It changes the perspectives on how we care for each other.
Okay, so
you come back in.
Okay, I was listening the whole time. I'm just multitasking.
Oh, good. So am I.
Yeah. Awesome presentation. I feel like one thing you may have missed in that was just talking about a little bit deeper into the time. So you was kind of talking about the length of time, that you're it takes to get from point A to point B, and then trying to, figure out what else can I get done because, it's such a, it's such, it takes up so much time that you want to, kind of condense as much into that time to be effective. However, we also got to realize the preparation time, that it takes just to prepare for that day, which is also a extra level of burden where people with personal transportation, they can just kind of, hop in and go. But people with that relies on public transportation, especially in Kitsap, where it's limited already, there's a lot of preparation, even before you walk out of the door, to go get on the bus. And, I think that's another level of burden that people, have. And so I really appreciate you guys with what you guys do, not just the transportation, but the feeding and everything. And I've been a customer of G2. I've driven, taken advantage of you guys' transportation. I've taken advantage of your feeding program, and I can say that it's top notch. It's quality service, and you guys, you can feel your heart in it. You know your heart's in it, and so yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I know God's going to take you guys this far, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Pastor. Sal, you want to jump in there on your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I too was listening. I was multitasking as well. I started making some food. And then because I noticed I had a big TV that I could just broadcast it on while I was doing it. So I was watching it on the tube. Yeah, I thought it was a powerful statement. I was also, it was also very interesting to hear it just from the perspective of learning more about exactly what G2 does and how I'm always interested to see how people perceive their own organization, how they, because it's all different, right? We all see things a little bit differently, or have a different experience with it. And so, I mean, literally, as you kept talking about it, it made me want to get people to the service. And to me, that's the way, if what I'm hearing makes me want to makes me feel good about if I bring people to this service, they'll get served in a quality way. Not it's, they can get something there. That's what makes me want to, push people into that, because I feel like they'll have a good experience, which will hopefully beget more good experiences, or you'll meet good people along the way, rather than just a hookup or getting a ride, or this is a program. This is like, clearly you were talking about a program, not just a ride service. And so that was very heartening for me. It was very cool to hear that that there's somebody out there working to do those things and serve the community in that way.
And there's so many things that I left out, right? I am multitasking, and because the original show got canceled, that actually took about 30 minutes of my prep time away this morning. But we had the Fred Hutch Cancer Society Cancer Center on earlier. We have Kids Public Health on every Monday, and it is already difficult for low-income people to go to the doctor, right? And so if transportation is a barrier, I'm not going. I don't have 3 hours to figure out what I might have to give me to try to fix it, right? I just don't have time for that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm put some dirt on it and keep on going until it stops me. I'm good, right? Now I'm not operating at capacity. I've got these ailments, and when Dr. Yall was speaking and saying, hey, if you caught this cancer at a certain time, well, we hear it all the time, right? Oh, if you would have came in, you're at stage 3, stage 4, you got 6 months to live. We could have done this. Your life will never be the same. Your diabetes is to the point where we're looking at amputation. Your mental health, which is beyond critical right now. It's already been an issue, and it's been stigmatized in our communities since the beginning. And we're working on that stigma now, and people are starting to value their mental health. And if you can't go, and if you're not going on a regular basis, it doesn't work effectively, right? You have to go and have that conversation on a regular basis. If that's a barrier, then it's not happening, right? And you can't get well. You can't get whole. Same thing for church. I remember shout out to a client that we had at the very beginning. She was a Navy wife, and her husband was on deployment, and a Filipino woman, and her church moved out to Polsbo. And her connection was for us to get her and her family to that church in Polsbo every Sunday. And that was the most important thing for her. I mean, we took her to the grocery store and some other things also, but that was critical. And, once he came back and, they didn't need us anymore. Well, she just called the other day. So I think he's back on deployment, and they've moved and they haven't forgotten us. And so I'm glad that we're here to serve her again. Now, Sal has to jump off. So Sal, just want to give you the final words I know you want to plug tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have a show, you and I have a show coming on at about 6:30. We'll be talking about some of the topics we talked about earlier. We're going to talk about that, like, I want to say the hot topics because it almost makes it sound positive. We'll be talking about significant topics, like the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. Now we actually have a verdict we can talk about. We'll be talking about Julius Jones. And I want to talk about, some of the things like that and how some of those things actually do affect our community. I'm sure in our community today, trauma is being felt from the decision from yesterday and the decision from today. Like when I heard that Julius Jones got his sentence commuted yesterday, I did things I have never done in my life. I'm not even going to say right now what they were, but I'll talk about them. But I literally, and I was just like, oh, wow. Like that's how meaningful that is to you, that like these new things started to occur, So, and then you literally saw my real reaction today to reading that news. I held it together for about 90 seconds and then I could not because it just, but then like literally on cue, Pastor starts saying these words and they make sense. And somehow I'm able to digest what just happened a little bit. Right. And keep moving forward. So, it happened the way it was supposed to, apparently.
You know what? That's just, you literally took my thought out of my head. It's like, all right, so Cody's coming on. It's going to be great. And this and that. I think your honest reaction on live is probably the most important thing for our audience to see. I think it may heal many that feel like, can I even feel like this? And they're not alone in that feeling.
Well, I hope they have Pastor Michael really close. And I really mean that in a very real way. I think that we need people who can help us sort stuff. And we need to keep those people close and we need to let them in those times. So,
yeah. And, obviously, Pastor Michael is available, so I will let him plug himself. So Sal, we will see you tonight. I can't wait for the show. It'll be the first of many. Super excited.
Thank you, Pastor. And I really appreciate you today. Thank you, Pastor.
Brother, I appreciate you as well. And yeah, I'm always available. We'll connect, and I'll make sure you get my contact information. And I'm kind of a 24/7 guy. Even when I'm asleep, I'll wake up and answer the phone.
Oh, I hear that. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So yeah.
All right. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. God bless you. Bye now.
Hey, Pastor, you say you're from Chicago, but right now you're looking like Kumo D from New York. What's happening with the hat, man?
Hey, hold on. This my cowboy joint right here. You know what I'm saying? This one of my cowboy joints. I got a few of them. This is my first Stetson. This is a genuine Stetson, and I'm kind of digging this one. It's good for these winter months up here. It keeps your head warm and dry. And
words go, I used to live downtown. Oh,
yeah,
country, convent, everything was upbeat parties.
Hey, a part of our history that a lot of people just don't realize and know is, there were a lot of black cowboys. A lot of black cowboys, and there still are black cowboys. So
you mean like Bash Reeves?
Yeah, exactly.
Ranger?
Yes. See, there you go. So yeah, it's just tapping into another part of our ancestry. Most cultural things that we see here in the lower 48 states, uh, you know, Black people have some part in its creation, in touching it, like rock and roll. It's like, yeah, we got to pay homage, to our people, in all areas. And one of the things I don't like to hear is people be like, oh, that's white people's music or something. Like, no, if it's American music, we got our hand in it. So yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
But
Well, Pastor, tell people where they can get in contact with you and New Horizons Baptist Church.
well, New Horizon Ministries, we're building right now. You'll start seeing this logo around. If you see that, come and come find me.
Again, Rev?
There's our logo.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, just recently paid to have that designed. And so you'll be seeing that a lot. Our legal operating name with the state and government is New Horizon Missionary Baptist Church. Our DBA, or our trade name, is New Horizon Ministries. And so we have a website. It's under development, but it is up and running, and it's simply newhorizonministries.org. You can go on there and find out a lot of information about who we are and what we do. We're adding to the website almost daily. We're going to be adding within the next 4 months or so. We're going to be adding a lot of resources to the website, so you can be able to just tap in and learning resources, as well as community resources. As we grow, we have a heart for the community, so we'll be reaching out to the community. Our business line, landline isn't up yet because we're in the process of moving, like literally right now. That's what I've been multitasking doing. But we do have a number you can reach out and get a hold of me, which is 360-649-7858. And like I was telling Sal, I'm kind of a 24/7 pastor. I believe in going to bed early and getting up early, but I will answer my phone, at 3-4 o'clock in the morning when it rings. I always answer. If I'm on the other line, I'll call back. So I believe in responding to phone calls. So yeah, you can find us on the web. You can find us on Facebook under New Horizon Ministries. That's our Facebook page. It's called New Horizon Ministries. And we have an offshoot of that, a study group. So it's a Facebook group for studying. It's open to everybody. You can join the group. You don't have to answer crazy questions to be admitted. You just it's just open and you can join it. And that's called 2x2 Studies. And so that's just short, no more than 15-minute, study videos, and just a lot of resources on there for your learning and stuff. And that's the Facebook group is, again, that's 2x2 Studies. And then we're on YouTube also. The YouTube, the YouTube name is New Horizon Ministries. You can find us under that YouTube name. And so a lot of times people put an S behind the horizon, but it's not an S, it's just New Horizon. And so when you're searching for us online, just remember that it's singular, not plural, New Horizon Ministries. And that's YouTube, Facebook, online, everything. I got a call coming in.
Got the church music going. Well, let me give you a quick plug. So when I was talking earlier about the salmon dinners that we were providing, that was at that church. They were, because they're moving now. They were 2 blocks away from us, and so we were able to use their basement in their kitchen. So on Fridays, during the week, we would go out to the tribe. We'd get these huge salmons. and our cook, I should call him a chef, he would brine them for one day. We would smoke them on Saturday all day right outside the church. And then on Sundays after service, we were feeding anywhere between 40 and 60 people in that basement. And it was an awesome experience. And one of the reasons that I like New Horizon Baptist Church and New Horizon Ministries is because they are one of the very few churches that I felt like were really out there doing the work of those that needed it the most. So trying to feed folks, trying to clothe folks. When we were doing the food, they set up a little clothing closet on the inside. So folks can come in and get clothing, socks, whatever shoes that were available. They're the only church that I know, which shocked I'm gonna say this, shocked the hell out of me, is they came into service and they had folks that were experiencing homelessness. I mean, like out on the street, sitting in the congregation, and they would have a cup of coffee or a bottled water. And when I grew up, you couldn't eat in the congregation or in the
Donuts.
yeah, you couldn't eat, you couldn't drink, you couldn't chew gum. And I'm like, what is this? So I remember my daughter and I were there, and she spilled her water, and I was just mortified. And the people in the church just picked, I think it was your son was sitting in front of me, and he just got up and got something to wipe it up. And I just was like, oh my God, I spilled this water. I knew we shouldn't have been eating in this church. And so that is powerful for me. So I like the fact that a church is actually doing the service of the people. I can get behind that, right? And then the other thing that I really respect about New Horizon Ministries and Pastor Ellington, shout out to Pastor. Pastor hasn't been pastor for 3 months yet, right? You were just installed as pastor.
Yes.
We do a show on Wednesday called "Do You Think Christians are going to hell? Do they know it?" Right now, most clergy would give 100 feet. They wouldn't come nowhere close to that. But he is not afraid to have the hard conversations. So most pastors and reverends, they kind of are very standoffish, and they are only comfortable when you fight in their space. So you can come in and they're going to preach at you, right? It's a lecture. I mean, that's kind of how it is, right? There's no talk back on Sunday. You can come to Bible study and there's some talk back, but a lot of times, right, there it's still organized. You're going to talk about this chapter, this verse, or this topic or whatever, but you can dialogue with Pastor Ellington, and he's a realist. And so I appreciate that, right? And I also appreciate your Second Amendment rights.
Hey, that's right.
He's a different type of pastor, and he is welcoming to all. He's not really caught up in the sauce of kind of the negative things of religion. So I just want to say I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you having those hard conversations. I always say that the Black church used to be the cornerstone of the Black community, right? And so childcare, education, credit union, a place for mental, physical, and spiritual healing, right? All of those things used to be the Black church, and now it's gone. That's how I feel about it, right? And I just was looking at stats of showing how many people are leaving the church, and so you are very interested in changing that, and so I'm all for it. So I just wanted to give you a shout out for that.
Thank you.
And as soon as they move, you will see us, consistently doing our show on a weekly basis. But they are moving an entire church to a new building, so that takes a lot. And Rev fell off a ladder and hurt himself the other day, so
Oh, let me show you that ladder.
Oh.
I'm still thanking God about this, and when I fell, I was just giving him praise and glory. But let me see. Can you see the ladder?
Absolutely.
That's what's left of it.
Wow.
Let me see there. Is it getting in the picture?
Oh, it's getting in the picture.
Yeah, there you go.
They're high.
Man, yeah, I was way up there. Look, I was trying to get that thing there down. So I was about a good 12 feet off the ground.
Yeah, we'll come help you out with that, Pastor.
Man, look, God is so good. When I fell, I couldn't do nothing but just, laugh and thank God, because I'm like, I didn't break nothing and I'm not bleeding. The rest is good. Yeah.
Well, let me give you some other good news, Rev. You know, Mark Boatwright Frost, who is the executive director of Kitsap Resiliency. Resiliency Econo Systems. I'm actually the board president of that. I'm very proud of that.
Amen.
They just like the ministry page, and he also is inviting you to a December 4th breakfast on December 4th. So he wanted me to mention that to you. So I'll make sure that you guys get each other's information also.
Hey, brother, you know my motto. Look, you ain't got to call me pastor. You ain't got to call me reverend. Just don't forget to call me for food. I'll be there. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I appreciate the invitation and I'll be there. Yes.
You got it. All right. So I'm going to let you get on with your day. Pastor was only going to co-host so that I could actually do the presentation, and he came on early. So, you know, he's always there for me. So again, I appreciate you, Pastor Ellington, for sure.
Hey, no problem, brother. Whatever I could do to help out, I appreciate you. And I'm gonna talk with you. I got some things I want to do with you. But I'll give you give me a call later when you free up and we could talk on the phone for maybe about like 5-10 minutes.
Okay, you got it, man. You just sound like you wanted to lay hands on me. I'm like, oh, I'm scared now.
No, this is good stuff. This is good
Catch on
stuff.
fire?
No.
This is good stuff. Jesus. Hallelujah. All right, I know that's blasphemous.
All right, brother. All right, God bless you. I'll talk with you later.
You got it, Rev.
All right, bye now.
So, you know, I got a lot of respect for Rev, you know, at the same time, you know, he can play a joke, you know, he knows I'm not actually being blasphemous and whatnot. So it's good times having that conversation. So, but I have no idea what he wants to talk to me about. So, but I will find out. But yeah, so, you know, that's our show for today. I just wanted to come on. Like I said, you know, this was a show for Cody, and we will try to reschedule that with him. But I did want to, you know, kind of talk about that transportation piece and just really try to impress upon folks how critical that is. And to that end, you know, we actually need drivers. So if you would like to volunteer some of your time and help people get to their Kitsap mental health appointments, to get to their doctor's appointments, to get to work, to you know, like I said, this week we are going from Chimicum to pick the person up, bring them all the way back to St. Michael's, and then take them back to Chimicum, right? And the chemo is, I think, like 25 minutes or something like that. But otherwise, they would have no way to do it, right? They can't drive right after they've gotten chemo. Um, and so making that accessible. And oh yes, the driver has caught the bridge. Shout out to Rob. You know, 3 out of the 5 times this week, or 2 out of the 5 times this week, he's caught that bridge. So that is a long trip, but it is allowing folks to do that. Yeah, absolutely. People can donate. One thing that you can do that won't even cost you anything, we are part of the Amazon Smile program. So if you purchase on Amazon, if you type in Amazon Smile in the URL, you get to pick whatever organization you want to donate to. And what it does is, let's say you spend $100, Amazon is going to match it by, I think it's like 5 cents on every $100. So it's just a little amount, but they don't take it from your purchase or anything like that. They just send that money based on how much you spend. There's nothing for you to do but select the organization. So, you know, everyone is on there, you know, the Humane Society, you know, on and on. But Gather Together, Grow Together is one of those that you can donate to. You can also donate to us. We are a tax exempt 501c3. So it's a great way to get a tax write-off, and we are coming up to the end of the year. So that would be awesome. We have a Cash App, which I will need to put in the chat because I don't have it here with me now. It's one of the things that I do horribly, right? And people are getting after me about that, is I don't ask for support or ask for help enough, and I don't make that information available, and it should always be available. Matter of fact, when I was using a different platform, I did actually have it in a ticker below, so it used to stream below. But using this system, it doesn't work that way, and so I've gotten away from doing that. But you can email us or give us a phone call. Gather the number two grow at g the number two g the number two.org, or you can give us a call at 360-373-3000. And we can set up ways to for you to donate. We do accept credit, so you can do that also. So yes, thank you for that question there, Sal. But we definitely need drivers. We actually drive pretty much 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And so, that it's a heavy burden on folks to work the shifts that they do. So the more people that can drive and take that pressure off, the better. So even if it's like, hey, I can give you a 3 hour time period to drive, that's awesome. What's great is we have a fleet of vehicles, so you don't have to worry about using your own car. However, if you wanted to use your own car, our insurance it does extend to you while you are transporting, um, our clients around and getting them where they need to go. So absolutely, please give us a call. We can definitely use your help. It may even be something like, hey, on Thursday we make our meals, and you live in Gig Harbor or you live in Poulsbo, and if we have some folks out that way, then it's like, oh, I'll take those meals. I'll come down and get those meals and deliver those meals in my neighborhood, or in that area for where we have those rides. Um, but yeah, the more drivers we have, the more that we can serve. Obviously, if you have the the driving record for it and want to go through the process of becoming a Kitsap Transit, um, I guess, licensed operator, we can do that, and then you can pilot our transit van. And what's powerful about that is when we're able to use that van, they actually pay for the fuel and the maintenance, so that takes a huge load off of us. But there are some um, uh, yeah, it's difficult to find people that are able to pilot that vehicle, as I cannot pilot that vehicle. And I got a speeding ticket going to the airport a few years ago, and they had just changed the merging the off ramp from Tacoma to from 16 to 5. And I'm using my GPS, and I'm looking, and I'm like, man, this doesn't look right. Like, what's going on? And I actually cut the officer off, and I was going a little fast. So it kind of seems counterintuitive that you were going fast, but you don't quite know where you're going. But I was kind of late. So I was trying to get there. And what was that another time? Maybe I'm getting it confused. Like, I pulled over once. I think he did give me a ticket for that. And so he said he was going to write it for 5 over, but on the thing it said my actual speed, which was 15 over. So what was I doing? 70. It doesn't seem very fast, but it is. So now I drive like the proverbial uh, grandparent, and I just kind of take my time, and it's kind of slowed me down for a lot of things. Like if I'm in a grocery store and someone's in front and their buggy is full or they're really going slow, it's like, look, these things are going to happen. It's how I started the podcast, right? Like, don't let those little things get in your way and frustrate you and put you in a different mindset. And so it's like, look, I know when I go to checkout, it's going to be what it's going to be. I do get a little frustrated when I see that the line is like 8 people in 2 lines. And it's like, could you open up another checker, please? But I don't get frustrated when they're chatting it up in the front and they've got a big buggy of stuff and they're going slow. And because it is what it is. And when you know what it is, then you're prepared for it. And I, just budget my time out, understanding that's going to be the case. And it actually keeps my stress level way, way down. So I encourage you to think of it that way, and, um, you know, set some goals, check on your goals, modify as you need to. And, you will see change in your own life. Ride the wave. We got to ride the wave even more than ever right now. Even more than ever. As I was saying, if you don't have a Pastor Ellington in your life, get one. And it doesn't have to be clergy, but someone that you can talk to. Someone you can talk to. And that person, hopefully, is someone that gives you sound advice that you can trust. I tell people all the time that mental health is so critically important. And I compare it to an exotic automobile, a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, something like that, right? That thing has to be fine-tuned, has the best fuel, the best oil. It's constantly getting tweaked on, right? To keep it at its peak performance. That's the same thing with your body and your mind. You've got to take care of your mind. I see really strong people that are in great shape and their mind is just in a very bad place. And I see the opposite too, right? Like my body is a mess. My mind's a little bit better. Well, depending on who you talk to. Talk to someone. It really does help. It can change your life. If you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling isolated, very, very powerful. Very powerful. And they can help with all kinds of things, unpack some things that maybe you didn't want to deal with, some things that were in your way, that you didn't know were in your way. If you are hurting and you need help, you can call the crisis line, 888-910-0416, or imhurting.org. Okay. And the suicide prevention website is kitsap.gov /HS/pages/suicide prevention. Again, you can just go to the kitsap.gov and type suicide prevention in, and it will come up. And it may not be for you, but it may be for someone that you care about. And it's a good idea to know where you can get this information from. Maybe right now you're okay, but next week you're not. We need you. We love you. There are a lot of good people here. It may not seem like it. You just have to find us. And we're looking for you. We're looking for you. Okay? All right, so we will see you tonight at 6:30 for Sal and Marwan. Super excited about that. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you.